Hey, welcome back to VIOC in action. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. This is your host, Mr. Leon Hunt, better known as Mr. Ras Books, live in the building one time for the one time. Can't cool, can't quench. This is your number 1 hour radio program that focuses on the Virgin Island Olympic sports, its Olympic athletes, and our conversation, of course, includes health, coaching, athletes update, and the Olympic movement. And part of this Olympic movement, as we are in 2020, midsummer, well, I guess it's midsummer. We got about another week till summertime. But hey, it's midsummer right now. Actually, the beginning of summer. I apologize. The beginning of summer right now. And around the world, we have a lot of protesting going on, man, for Black Lives Matters. For what I know, all life matters for that. We're here in the Virgin Islands. It's many different races and many different colors and many different genres of people. Everything here. And we're all the people here that makes up the Virgin Islands. You know, understand? And all our life matters. So just remember that. You know what I mean? Now, granted, we've seen a lot of stuff going across the world. All over, especially in the U.S. But here in the Virgin Islands, we just had a peaceful protest last weekend. That was amazing. And that's how Virgin Island is. Very peaceful. And part of the Olympic movement is being world peace. And we here in the Virgin Islands are doing that. Showing the world an example. Alright, so today's show is actually, we're still practicing social distancing. And this one is cool. This is part of my follow group, my from back in my day from track and field. One of our teammates, Winetta Kirby, you guys heard on the show a couple times. She reached out to me and say, hey, Bookie, we need to bring back everybody from the alumni, the people, the coaches before us, our group, the kids them after us, the kids them out there know. And we need to have a real conversation. You always hear about stories about within a group that they talk about, yeah, you know, Leon used to do this and the man was the best long jumper and this and that. And then somebody was like, yeah, I used to coach Leon and Leon with this one, you know. And then myself, I'm like, yeah, I Leon Hunt and all that. But guess what? We have 25 people on our Zoom from all ages, all different times of being part of our national team, and it's amazing. And today I want to share with you guys that story, or at least that Zoom throughout the show, because very important, everybody giving their opinion, you know, a voice, and that's what we're here for. We're sharing this platform, and I'm glad Winetta Kirby put it up there. And you guys gonna hear a couple of athletes speak out. And is very special. So I'm gonna turn it over now to the Zoom. Oh, don't forget, Virgin Island University Sports Federation is still giving away Under Armour shoes, the sneakers them going out there to Virgin Island student athletes. That's who are enrolled in K through 12 and higher education, college and university. How do you enter? You need 1-page essay. Who are you? What's your name? What school you go to? What's your age? What grade are you in? What's your sport? What's your phone number and your email address? Where was you born? And important, what's your shoe size? Why did you choose your sport? List 3 goals. Athletic goals, that is. And what college or university do you want to attend? If you already attend university, why did you choose that school? And lastly, the prize. You get 1 brand new pair of Under Armour sneakers. Different styles, but honestly, the size is what matters, because you gotta have a pair of size before we get you a style. Send all of this information to VI University Sports Federation at gmail.com. Last week was the first week. This is the second week. You got 2 more weeks after this one. It's due July 1st, 2020. Get our information in. We'll get you guys the shoes. On St. Croix, on St. Thomas, and over there in St. John's. Oh yeah, Watts Island too. All right, so going on to the show. Virgin Island Track and Field Federation, the group. Let's just call it the Virgin Island national team come together at once, the very first time here on VIOC in action.
Yeah. So how are you guys coping with all the situations going on in the world at the moment? And no, I mean, you don't gotta, go ahead, Lavi.
Well, I'm coping with all this because I told this to one of my friends, and she's a professor. Growing up, and that's the next thing, growing up in a VI, we never experienced what we experience here. So I don't know how to process it. You know, we never been, everybody got along. Okay. And when I moved to the States, I never experienced it. So when I see everything going on, it can build anxiety and it does build stress, but I work out. I still working out. I still, you know, I find somewhere to go and I work out. Even with the stay-at-home order, I go outside and I feel so much better because it's distressing. And I just back to fall training, background training. I doing, you know, repeat 400s and I feel so much better after. So that's how I'm coping with what's going on. Because we don't know, right now, we're in the unknown in sports, in track and field. It's an unknown situation. So you just have to, you know, play it day by day, play it by ear. I know you have meets going on in October. I think the Prefontaine, they might host their meet with no fans. But we just waiting and see and just have to transition in how things are going. So training is my coping. And that's it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anybody else want to go? Sorry. How you guys coping? I'm coping. I go outside also, but I go outside in color. That's what I do. I have an adult coloring book and I color. We just came from South Carolina. We had to get away, but that's how we cope. I have to get outside and do something. So, or travel. So.
I think cold was a good thing. So now to where people actually took up.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you, boss.
No.
Come closer or something.
And you breaking up. Barely.
All right, well, don't come back when I get in again.
How about your shout?
All right, so you guys can hear me right now?
Nah.
Yeah, it's a little better. It's a little better.
Leon, your phone pop down or your computer, something pop down.
David, stop lying to the man.
Somebody else want to?
Leon, we'll come back to you. You break it up.
Yeah.
All right, Leon, hush now. We come back. We talk about that another time. Yeah, for me, as far as coping with the COVID, I can't really escape it too much because of the field, my work field. You know what I mean? As a delivery driver, I come in contact with a lot of people, but I try to stay my distance. As far as the I don't really go out too much, so that never was a problem for me. As far as getting in big crowds and stuff like that, I try to keep to myself, stay with my kids, and basically stay home most of the time. Stay out of trouble that way anyway. And as far as what's going on in the world right now, as far as the racism and all that, like Laverne said, growing up in the islands, we never really experienced stuff like that. So we don't really know how to deal with it here. But I feel like it's a good thing that everybody is rioting and whatnot. I don't agree with the looting and destroying of people's property and stuff like that. But at the same time, I feel like we do need to stand up and make a change, because there is a time for change right now. Because growing up, I've had maybe 2 or 3 police, you know what I mean, pull me over and put a gun to my head for no reason. And that's just for me. So imagine what tens of thousands or millions of other people, black people, going through, you know what I mean? So it's time for a change, man. I don't see anything wrong with the riots as long as it's peaceful. Because you can't fight hate with hate, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gonna get nowhere like that. We gotta show them that we're better than what they think we are.
Did you want to say what you want to say? What?
No, man, I'm just saying. That was just my analogy.
Well, so you want to say it?
What?
Your analogy on why you think, we don't see it, because I brought it up to my boyfriend also, because we come from the islands, we don't see it, we didn't grow up on this. Like the first time I dealt with a cop pulling a gun, on me, little old me, and that's why I never trusted any cops, was because my stepdad, he's a correctional officer, and he put his hand on his gun to draw his gun towards me. I never talked about that before. But the time we in now, I guess I do. I have to talk about it. So I didn't see race as a problem, because we didn't grow up on it. But he want to say his analogy on why he think we see it different. So.
No, everybody. No, the conversation I had was, I grew up in DC, in Washington, D.C. area. It's like 80% black people here, majority black. Most of the people are doing pretty well off. So coming from this area, we see it a little differently. Yeah, there's racism here, but it's totally different here than it is in Alabama or Southern Virginia.
And I could attest to that, because I used to live in Alabama, Mississippi, now Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's totally different for what, I've experienced a lot of racism in this area alone. So I can only imagine what someone who living in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all throughout Midwest and all that experience, even more than what I've experienced. But the analogy I gave with Juanetta, with like, you look at a lot of countries, the Caribbean and so forth. I look at it as, we've all dealt with the same stuff through our lineage from Africa. And all the Caribbean islands were some rule of either British rule, Spanish rule, whatever the case is. And I see the differences where a lot of Caribbeans don't see is, you've gotten your independence some years ago, and maybe 3 or 4 generations of, your independence and your black leadership having your own role in leading the country. Whereas African Americans, we still live with the oppressors, and a lot of them still have that ideology. They didn't just leave us here, where like a lot of, Caribbean countries, you're able to start your own thing. So it's different just like I'm here in DC, where it's predominantly black, I get a lot less racism or whatever the case is than certain other areas where like Caribbean islands are mostly brown and black people, where you aren't getting, you don't have a chance to have somebody racist towards you, because you don't have you don't have the original people, the original oppressors there anymore. That's all I brought up in the conversation that we had. I mean, it kind of brings to light to the experiences that we all get.
Yeah, I mean, like, everywhere you go, you get different experiences, man. Like, who would have thought that going to Russia, you would have experienced any racial discrimination? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Russians typically don't like black people.
Yeah.
Because even when we were there, we were in Moscow and we were trying to leave to go into the city to see, just to walk around and stuff like that. And one of the policemen, they told us, hey, don't leave the airport. So we was like, why? And then he started pointing to our skin, like, because you're black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, everywhere you go, you don't experience the same things, but at the same time, you have to be aware.
I mean, you always got to be aware.
You know what I mean?
Travel all over the place. You know, the funny thing is, even some of the most racist countries that we know of, I've randomly experienced a better situation than most people did. I mean, I went to my sister lived in Germany for a while. I went to Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany, where most of the Nazis still live. Went to Oktoberfest. I had a great time. People invited me and my sister to their tables, gave us free beer, all that stuff. Where I also know people have gone to Munich and have gotten the most racist experience in their life. So it's just like being here in the United States. You can be here and be in one state and get treated great. I mean, we were in South Carolina, North Carolina this weekend. We pretty much got a good experience of, most of the white people we came across. But I mean, even just strangely, you see a white man with a Confederate flag tattoo on his arm, and he's opening the door and being nice to you because, as crazy as it sounds, some of them really see that as a Southern tradition of having a Confederate flag, not what it really truly stands for, which is, racism and slavery and oppression. So it's hard to. It's hard to.
I agree.
It's
I
hard to
agree with
really
you guys
understand.
because in Suriname in 1863, slavery was abolished. The slaves were free. They knew they were free. When did they abolish slavery in the U.S.? And for the next
1865.
those slaves didn't even know they were free.
Yeah, I
Nobody
know.
knew them.
It wasn't until 1865 that most really knew. And even still, most of them still had no place to go. And that's when sharecropping started.
Exactly. Well, in Suriname, I mean, all these slaves said, forget this. We're not working on the plantations anymore. And they had to start importing people from everywhere else, try to get the sugar still going.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the main thing out of it is people really should understand that it wasn't that long ago. That's 150 years ago. That is 2 lifetimes.
Hey, welcome back to VIOC in action. Oh man, this has been a beautiful day already. It's so good to see or hear. Well, I guess I could see them because on Zoom, but to hear members here from the Virgin Islands, from the native land, talking about their experiences and we having an outlet. A lot of the time we like to keep a lot of things in, or you just be able to tell one friend, or a diary. But now people are getting to hear their word, getting to hear what goes on, and getting to hear why we train so hard. A lot of times, one of my things in training was, I spent a lot of time training just so I wouldn't be able to be out there with the distractions. So being in training, all you had to do was just train, and you didn't have nobody telling you negativity outside of within your quote unquote discipline of sport. But we talking like just racial comments and everything. So that was one of my things of why it kind of motivated me as well to continue to train so much. And of course, I want to become the best or the greatest, or at least shoot for the star and land on the moon. One of the two. Once you dare shooting that way, you are good to go. You understand? So upcoming now, we hear some more of our national team, but in sports world, well, as you guys could see, you guys been reading it all through the week. We got the NBA and the major leagues them opening up. So I said that for our athletes, that's going out there now. You still want to continue social distancing, and yes, it sounds kind of ironic and crazy because you ask me now, well, how can we do a peaceful protest next to each other, arm to arm, and social distancing in sports? And I guarantee you during the protest, nobody checking nobody's temperature, nobody's still going on. The reason why we're in this situation within sports now is because of COVID-19, the pandemic. The one thing that keeping us out is the one thing now that we're getting back to in being right next to each other. And of course, you guys see the numbers are rising. And as much as this number continue to rise, it's going to continue to affect our sports. And the thing is, we don't really have an answer for it. We really don't. I mean, I guess you could scan everybody and just, if you ask them questions truthfully, but this virus is so unique that within the first week and second week, you don't ever know. I think it could be asymptomatic. Like, it's so much things, and they have evolved since then. And yes, in sports world, I guess the best thing, as they would say from the beginning, you could still just continue social distancing, be disciplined. That's the part. Athletes out there, you gotta be disciplined in social distancing in sports. That's how you still become better, because we will come back and we'll come back stronger. Well, if you discipline. And, so yeah, man. So sports out there, all the youths them, and now I'm hungry to come out. It's summertime now. I'm ready to play, but hey, it's still there. Our territory is open. We got a lot of visitors coming in. We have flattened our curve for month. Territory is open. Visitors is coming in. I might be safe. Listening to the next section for our Virgin Island Track and Field Federation. Our national team, the first time ever, we finally all come together. And that's what we want to do in the Virgin Islands. Well, social distancing wise for right now. But we want to come together and move for the right way, for the one move, for the right direction. And here we are. Oh wait, don't let me forget. Virgin Island University Sports Federation is giving away sneakers, Under Armour sneakers, to university athletes enrolled in K through 12 and higher education. Once again, how do you enter? 1-page essay of who you are. I need your name, your school or club, your grade, your age, what sport do you participate in, your phone number, your email address, your place of birth, and what size of your shoe size. What's your shoe size. Why did you choose your sport? Why did you choose to run track and field? Why did you choose to play basketball, play baseball? Why did you choose to swim? Why did you choose to, I guess, play bowling? And list 3 athletic goals. And last but not least, what college or university do you want to attend? If you already attend university, why did you choose that college? I went to Florida A&M, the Rattlers, and we strike, and strike again. That means we don't give up, we'll come for you, and we gone again. Hey! And what do you get? 1 pair of brand new Under Armour sneakers. The style, design, and size vary in capital letters. So, importantly, the contact information, the essay, all those answers, your shoe size, and send all this information to VI University Sports with an S Federation at gmail.com. Last week was the first week. This is the second week. We got 2 more weeks. July 1st is the deadline at 12 p.m. Wait a second. That's the same time of our show. Hey. All right. So we on to the second segment. Let's listen into the Virgin Island Track and Field Federation. First time coming together. All right.
About this.
Let me say something real quick, and I hope I can be short about it. You know, when I was living in Warren, Michigan, it's the top 10 whitest cities in America. We're the only Black people living in this, basically this city of about 300,000 people. And people kind of gave us some type of respect around us because they got to know us. But I remember going to the movies one night with Michaela and Malik and my wife, and coming to my vehicle, and it is a shame to be used to something that is so disgusting as somebody being afraid of you and struggling to get into the car before you get to your car because they see a Black man coming by, even though he's coming with his family. And so the woman is fighting for her keys to get in her car. And I say, well, good night, like we do, you know?
Yeah.
It's terrified. And I think about that and I say to myself, in today's light, I mean, people would shoot you just because of their fear.
Exactly.
And so therefore you always have to, like, when I'm in the States, I always have to remind myself that I'm Black. I can't just be who I want to be and just do what I want to do, because I always have to be aware of how I'm speaking, make sure that they can hear an accent, because sometimes they treat you a little bit differently if you have a little island accent versus, they think you're a regular statesider. And then you have to always, be mindful of where you go and how you approach people. So you're second guessing and thinking through 1,000 things at one time. Now, since I've been back home, I don't have to deal with that stuff so much, But when I see the history of, North Carolina, Wilmington, how they bombed, they won free press, think of Oklahoma City, and I see all these atrocities, perpetrated against Black people. You get sad that we can't just, treat people right. So my coping mechanism in terms of, just being down because of knowing how brutal people can be towards people of color is twofold. I mean, a big part of it is my faith. Every single day I'm praying for my children, I'm praying for my friends, I'm praying for people around me in terms of, protection and guidance and wisdom for every situation that might come to your way that you may not be even aware of. And then the next thing besides prayer and, and devotion and stuff, I go to, we train 3 times a week right now. And I have little children and older ones training. And, I get really involved in the techniques of arm swing and drive phase. And once I'm on the track, everything is null and void. I'm just focusing on every single athlete and helping them to get better. And then, I guess that the third thing would be I can do some of the things that I used to do when I was young. Like yesterday, I went picking mango. I was up in a tree, climbing tree, picking mango and stuff like that. I eat 4 mangoes, for lunch, and those kind of things. So it's like you have to have multiple mechanisms that you can, kind of rest back on and remind yourself that, hey, you can still do certain things. You can still enjoy, track and field and coaching people where. Once when I was an athlete, I could have been sick like a dog. When I stepped on the track, it was a whole different story. I would be sick before practice and I would go practice and then I might be sick after practice, but when I'm in practice, I'm not sick. And so it was that one thing that really helped me focus and block everything out. And so when, you go through hard times and you have all these traumatic things on your mind, I start thinking about my athletes. I start thinking about who needs to do what. I start writing, little notes to athletes in my WhatsApp group, or or even reading. Like I have everybody writing an essay right now, and reading their essays, or reading some posts or some letters that athletes have sent me over the years, and those things kind of help to really remind me that, hey, God has put me here for a reason. I'm fulfilling that purpose, and once I'm doing that, the rest will take care of itself. So it's to me it's really hard when I was stateside and dealing with knowing that you have to see people every day, and you look at them, and I like to smile. I smile, and it's not just to comfort them, but it's because that's how I am, and you just don't want people to feel, well, you're just trying to pacify them or anything like that. But so much things go through your mind, and you just have to be thinking so much. It can be wearing on you, especially when you have to deal with them on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And really, for me, I really have to. I had some situations at Ford Motor Company where I would just be walking down the plant floor and having to pray because the the plant was really racist, and I was like the only Black person in middle management. And so, people would just outright in your face, ridicule you and call you the N-word. And I would just have to say, I don't do, work for people if you are going to address me like that. Because the Ford culture was not just racist, but it was, it was multi-level, racist plus whether or not you're working for Ford or you're a contract worker. So that was, I've been in a lot of stressful situations, and I found that, for me, I had to pray. I had to be involved in track and field because that's, a passion of mine, and it will keep my mind off of those other things. But those mechanisms have to be something that you practice on a regular basis, because there's so many things that come your way, especially living in the States.
That's one of the other things. Henry Ford was a white supremacist himself, and a lot of people don't know that. So that culture is not old from what he started in his company. We talk brutality. People don't realize the police force in America was started from slave catchers.
Yeah,
that was the original police force. A lot of that started from that. So it's a culture that has not left.
That's why I tell people, in order for anybody to make any change, you got to start from the root. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't want to go that deep, but we went deep.
I went deep on y'all and even hear my thoughts or anything.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go on to the next one. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just heard everybody comments and everything. I missed the question because I was trying to fix my speaker.
How are you coping with what's going on in the world situation? How do you feel about what's going on in the world?
I think Yaya said something very important, which was we getting the information out there from what we see and also what we experience. And like she said, when you see one thing, you ain't want to put everything in that one thought. And then you say, if you don't do nothing, it make you feel kind of guilty in certain ways or pressure to be. But I think within the individual, because we all experience so much different things. Like I can't relate to some of the stuff you guys have done, but I understand because I went through some stuff as well. So we all share an experience that we've really been trying to figure out for X amount of 100, and it's going to continue. But what we could do is we could try to do what the best is, Brian made something good. It's like, look, like, I don't know where to look at for help. And one of our things within the quote unquote African American Black community is we kind of don't look for those helpful places. We might say it, but we really don't seek help, or we might not know where to find those help. Help might not even be available in certain areas. But finding some help somewhere or somewhere to kind of figure it out or seek it through. I think what Winetta did today is actually, this is helpful. Because a lot of people haven't had a chance to express what they've been building up through COVID. That's something brand new, none of us never experienced. And you expect us to come out to that thing normal? Right? So, in seeking help and getting off your chest and being able to talk it out to somebody of your peers, because we're all in this together, yes, but just being able to talk about it is kind of like, I think that's a good step, you know? And then coping within me, I mean, y'all know I like to talk, so when I get a radio show and everything, could talk all day, all night. And one of my things is like information. And I like to receive information from all over the place. But, you know, I have my own beliefs and things, but just try to do the right thing. And be safe, because we know we are Black. What's still on this thing?
No.
Okay, well, he kind of Black sometimes. We are Black, and we gotta make sure that we out there, like, dude, you gotta be safe. Think twice or 3 times. Our daily life, we think about so much things that people don't think about because we Black.